And there we have it. Honestly, dremel engraving is not usually my preferred method of doing this, but it's real hard to get nice, clean, curved lines like this with a wood chiseling tool. Yeah, what are words? But yeah, this. I used to have a much bigger Dremel tool than this, but this is one that I got recently that is actually made for stuff like this. It's like a Dremel stylus almost, and yeah, it works quite nice. I can get nice smooth curved lines. Not as clean as I'd like regarding evenness of depth, but best of luck getting that without some kind of apparatus or some other kind of tool to maintain depth. So yeah, that works just fine. Well, unfortunately, with the case of the Dremel tool, it tends to be hard to get straight lines out of it because of it being very spinny and very fast. So, as you can see, without proper patience, the hand can slip and create these, focus, little wedges here. But, thankfully, with a little bit of wood filler, it just becomes a case of no one saw, didn't happen. So, you didn't see anything. You know, I really have no clue what this little nibbin is, but it is super nice at making these things so very... Let me get out of my own light here, Jesus. Making these things so much cleaner than just regular dremeling them out. Like, you can see how rough they are over here and how just smooth they are over here. Love it. Night and day. Alright, so before I do the final clean up and glue together, I'm going to do just a little test fit here to see how this collar fits on here. Good so far. Good so far. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. Yep. Oh. It's a little bit looser than I think I would like, but considering it's gonna be form fit to the handguard, I can attach it there without much issue. Yep. I likes that. I likes that a lot. And that is why you wood chisel. Snug. Sending my life away. Alright, now that the handle's been mostly smoothed out, I can go ahead, cut a nice big gouge down the center of the handguard to better match with this guy. You can see that there. I think what I'm also going to do is go ahead and put a nice coating of epoxy sculpt just all across this handle here. So I don't like where it just kind of separates between the handguard and the rest of the sword. It's a nice snug fit, but it just looks bad. So yeah, I'll put a nice epoxy sculpt covering on that, sand it down, because it'll be much better than just putting down wood filler here. And yeah, it'll look great. Now, if you've never worked with epoxy sculpt before, it's some amazing stuff. It comes in two different parts. Like, epoxy is a like fluid that has two different types of fluid in a syringe type of thing. You squeeze the plunger and it squirts the two chemicals out and mixes them together, and they have a chemical reaction that makes them harden over time. And depending on the type, you can have a long hardening time, a short hardening time. It's fine. It's fine. And with these guys, this is more like modeling clay. It's the same principle. Got two different types. You got this stuff, and then you got this stuff. They look a lot the same, but they feel a lot different. My only issue, so it's hard to get out of here, is that I often get too much. I have kind of a difficult time actually figuring out how much I need, because I take from each how much I often need, or I think I need, and I don't realize that, oh, I'm doubling this, because I have to take equal parts of both. I'm trying to do this in the camera. There we go. Now, squish it all together to start getting that nice chemical reaction. Wish I could show you a chemical reaction. That'd be cool. Yeah, get it all nice and mixed up. Alright. Basically, this is within about 24 hours, the stuff is going to harden, and it's just going to be rock-like. Without the need for a kiln or anything like that you would often get with modeling clay. Move the camera out. Centered. God, it's really hard to do this with a phone. Yeah, that'll do. This thing out of the way. Alright, so let's squishing this down. I think I'll be able to get this in all the little crevices crevices and cracks. I don't think I'll have to go quite across the whole thing, but it's good to just get it as spread out as possible just for ease of sanding later. Don't want to go over the sides at all, just keep it nice and set on the top. Yeah, there are times when it doesn't really want to cooperate, like it just wants to stay together and not really stick to whatever surface you're putting it on. You can alleviate this by just making sure it's free of like sawdust or dirt or debris or whatever. As long as you have some kind of skeleton to put it on, you know, it does pretty well with modeling around whatever you want to do. Come on, you stick down. I don't want to stick down for some reason. Perhaps I didn't clean this off quite as well as I thought I did. But nah, it's fine. So yeah. Get that all nice and smoosh down. Smoosh it down, smoosh it down. Get it all nice and packed in. Okay, so as it always happens, I went a little bit overboard with this, but it actually worked out in my favor this time because I wasn't entirely happy with how this area of the hilt turned out, so I just went ahead, made a nice little sort of collar section there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and sand down once this dries and hardens, and I'll be able to shape that into something a bit more fitting, I think. See here. Don't think I should have to do anything up here, as long as I just kind of paint it the right color, because it's kind of a flat cap up there anyway. What I really need to decide is if I'm just going to straight paint this or try to do some kind of wrap. I don't think the wrap will be really necessary. Unless I want it to... Yeah, I pretty much have to decide whether I want it to look more sword-like or more fitting to the source material. There's the rub. Oofed. Alright, so it took a little bit of doing, but simply taping these two pieces down and then gluing them here, clamping them together, I think is going to give me a nice tight hold. I'll make this super tight and nice and not at all wiggly when I unclamp it. I've got to say, this thing is coming along rather nicely. Yeah, definitely have to round that off, I think, but overall, this is shaping up to be a sword. Sword, sword, sword. Swordy, sword, sword. And as you can see, 24 hours later, nice and hard as a rock. Perfect for sanding, and it'll stay like that, nice and rigid. No need for any kind of kiln or nothing. Wonders of epoxy sculpt. Although it is just a little bit. Nah, it's no problem. No problem at all. Yeah, time for some sanding, I think. To be completely honest, I was actually a little worried that I would have misjudged the amount of material I used, the epoxy sculpt part A and part B, simply because I like to eyeball these things rather than actually measure them like a sane person. Worried that it would still be soft. It's happened a couple of times, not often, but it can happen. I think more often than not, it just leads to somewhat longer drying time. But honestly, it seems to be working just fine. The only thing is, it clogs up the sandpaper something fierce. So it just takes a little bit of time to sand down properly. Sanding my life away. And as you can see, sand is nice and smooth. Almost no separation between the edge of the epoxy sculpt and the wood. It's going to create a nice effect there. Be nice and smooth along the top. Gonna sand this part down so it just makes a nice round collar. Yeah, I think I'll probably give a good separation between collar and the hilt. Yeah, let's do the same for the other side. That should make it paint nice and smooth. Eesh. It's like a dentist drill or something. Boo. So, here I got my two pieces here. I'm already in the midst of covering them with Plastidip. Boom. This stuff creates a rubber coating on the outside that gives wood just a nice smooth finish. Makes it really easy to paint. Get rid of all those gross wood grain marks. Because, I mean, as nice a compliment as that looks really good for wood, what really gets me going is when people go, "That's made of wood?" That's what you go for right there. When people are just astonished that your metallic looking weapon is actually made out of wood. I've actually gotten in trouble at cons for having my props look too realistic. How's that for a compliment? Sorry, sir, you can't bring steel props into the con hall. Oh no, it's actually wood. Oh, that's okay. Carry on. Alright, give this time to dry and paint it up completely. Alright, so I didn't actually intend to do this with spray paint at all, but the stuff I was using, for whatever reason, it looked brown. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Why does silver paint look brown when applied? I even put down at least like 2 or 3 coats of it, and it still just, it looked like really off, like chocolate milk kind of color. Isn't that weird? Is that weird? Am I the only one who thinks that's weird? That can't be just me. But anyway, yeah, so now we got silver spray paint. Silver spray paint always seems to work for me. I don't know why I tried to go traditional. Go with what works. Just do what works. That should be it. Nice smooth surface too. I like how the Plastidip actually keeps it smooth without showing the wood grain through. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, so now to finish brassing up this area here. See, I already got it started up here. Yeah, I actually did a good amount of painting in the interim. Decided it probably wouldn't be the most interesting thing to watch me do, because literally it's just watching paint dry. So I decided to just take a few pictures and toss them up on my my fan page on Facebook. So check that out if you want to see it. All right, let's do some painting. You know, it's funny, I've got painter's tape down for a reason, but it still feels a little harrowing. Trying to get this paint to stay in the lines. Really shouldn't feel that terribly about it. In fact, no, I don't. Because it's not a big deal if it goes over. I was thinking to myself, what if I missed a little space with the painter's tape? I know I didn't, but what if I did? It's a horrifying idea. I don't want that to be the case, but it could be. That does look pretty though. Crap. I didn't painter's tape the inside. Okay, that gets to be the harrowing part. I can do this. Got this. If anyone ever dares to say that art can't color inside the lines, you show them this. You show them! Show them their folly! I'm not one to try to hide my mistakes. The brass sleeve looks great, I will admit, but I wanted to give it kind of a nice luster with this spray-on lacquer. It says high luster coating, but it seems metallic leaf paint does not respond well to a lacquer coating. Might have to give this another coat, but it's fine. It's fine. It's gonna look great. I promise. And there she is, painted, engraved, and good to go. Went ahead and decided to just do a nice simple paint job on the handle. No need for a wrap really. Just gave it a wet sand after doing some acrylic paint, and it wound up just fine. Yeah, the brass leaf actually turned out really well after just a light second coat. Couldn't even tell that the lacquer, melted off some of the other paint. And honestly, the silver held up just fine too. That is one for the wall.